Phase 4, more like Phase Snore. That's right, guys, this one's been a long time coming. I was gonna make this video last year after Black Panther came out, but I kinda got a little busy. And you know, Black Panther 2 left me a little more optimistic about the future of the MCU. It was one of the better movies in Phase 4. But then, the movies got bad again. So here we go, it's rant time. I'm gonna talk about the current state of the MCU and how I think that things should change pretty soon, or else I don't see people sticking around for much longer. See, when I look back on the fourth phase of the MCU, I do not have strong feelings about most of the things that I have watched. It's disappointing that right after Endgame they chose to just flood the market with a plethora of mediocre shows and movies. The common word I hear around the MCU nowadays is mid, and honestly, I think it's probably the most accurate use of that word. Because mid doesn't really mean bad, it just means mediocre, middle of the road. And yeah, the recent MCU entries usually aren't horrible. Every once in a while you'll watch something pretty fun and cool. But most of the time, it's just fine. It might be entertaining in the moment, but usually it's nothing that will blow you away or leave a lasting impression. The Infinity Saga was, for the most part, well planned out and well executed. And of course, there are a lot of mid-movies in that collection, but there are also a lot of iconic action-adventure movies in there too. And if you want to follow that up, you kinda have to go bigger and bolder, and Marvel is not doing that right now. I will never understand why they followed up the most popular movie of the 21st century with this.
This was fun! No!
Dude. I'm not gonna lie, the multiverse saga has potential to be more interesting than the previous overarching plot. An evil time-traveling mastermind with multiple incarnations of himself trying to stop the Avengers is a much more interesting story than Purple Man wants to kill everybody. But that's only if you execute it well. You kinda have to plant seeds for this story at every opportunity. And so far, about half of the movies and shows from Phase 4 have had nothing to do with Kang or the multiverse or anything like that. And honestly, Marvel's running out of time because everybody's got a fucking multiverse now. And Marvel started this train with Spider-Verse, which wasn't an MCU thing, but still, it led to No Way Home, which kind of got us in this position. But after that movie, they've kind of just been dicking around. Normally, I'm okay with having a standalone story every once in a while that doesn't affect the overarching plot. But so far, the last dozen entries really haven't had any connecting tissue. Everything has been a standalone story. Kind of feels like Marvel was just kind of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And obviously, the thing that everybody thought would be popular was the most popular entry. People very clearly react well to the multiverse stuff. But I don't think that's going to last much longer, especially since everybody's copying it now. Instead of following up Phase 3 with stories people want to see, we have a movie about a dead lady, we have a movie where Thor kind of fucks around for a few hours, we have a movie that tries to introduce a bunch of characters that have no personality, a movie so bad that Marvel's basically pretending it never happened. Gee, that's a nice multiverse saga, but tell me, how does Cersei the Eternal fit into all of this? That movie ends in probably the funniest way, with her getting kidnapped by a giant space god. And it's just crazy that not a single character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe has brought up the fact that this shit happened. Is that just sitting there forever? No one's ever gonna talk about it or bring it up? And I kind of understand the problem to a certain degree. How do you follow up the biggest blockbuster of all time when half of your original superhero lineup is unavailable? We got two dead people, Joe Biden, and a couple of guys who don't seem like they really want to be in these movies anymore. But I think that the focus has been a little too much on world building and not as much on character building. Every character that's featured in one of the shows has the same exact character arc. Almost all of them have been about the main character accepting who they are, and then getting their costume. Hell, even the shows about the established characters have this same formula. This is how Captain America accepts his role as a superhero and gets his costume. This is how She-Hulk accepts her role as a superhero and gets her costume. This is how Wanda does domestic terrorism and gets her costume. And I gave most of these shows acceptable scores, but almost none of them have left a lasting impression on me. These are all the same show except for Loki and WandaVision, which are my favorites. They're very fun and creative. And honestly, if I had to pick one thing from Phase 4, I think Loki overall stands as the best project, the thing that I think is legitimately good, and I've grown to appreciate more as time goes on. Because this is what I want more of. Flesh out a character that we actually care about. Give us creative concepts. Introduce new characters that are really likable. And do all of that in a way that matters in the overarching plot that you're trying to establish. I never thought in a million years that the Loki spin-off show would be one of my favorite MCU entries, but whatever. I'm at the point where I would have enjoyed more if they made less movies and less shows and just worked extra hard on the ones that they put out. Because not only has the storytelling taken a hit, but the movies and shows just look worse now too. They've been working their artists to the bone to meet these insane deadlines, and it shows in the final product. Every aspect of these projects feels rushed. The storytelling is aimless and only works to set up individual sequels. The character development is in service of eventually shoving these characters onto the same team in the future. And the visuals are dookie because we gotta pump out 7 projects in a year. I said back when Endgame came out that I wouldn't have been upset if the MCU took a break for a while, and I think most people would have been fine with that too. But instead, we got the exact opposite. It is definitely a case of quantity over quality. And luckily, I think Marvel knows that now. The lukewarm overall reception of Phase 4 has definitely caught their eye. They recently stated that they're going to be pushing back a lot of the shows and movies that were planned for this year. It's no surprise that all of the shows that nobody cared about have been postponed to further notice, which I am so thankful for, because I really could not muster up any excitement for the Echo spin-off show. And the thing is, I complain so much because I like the MCU. I get that with each passing year that is becoming an increasingly unpopular statement, but I think it's fine to enjoy these movies and enjoy other movies as well. But as such, I kind of also want the movies to be better. Too many people are like, oh, well, they're just Marvel movies. They don't need to be amazing. And I'm like, well, why not? Why can't they be amazing? I've seen superhero movies that are amazing. Movies that were labored over with love and care by everybody involved. Why can't we get that with the MCU? They're the most popular movies that exist right now. Why can't they also be great? And like the other day on Twitter, I saw that somebody posted that one scene from the first Captain America movie, the ending scene that I've praised a million times in the past. Like, if you asked me, I'd probably say that that movie overall is mid too, but I really like that one scene. It's something that kind of sticks with me. It encapsulates the heart of that film really well in just a little moment. And it reminded me that we don't really get moments like that anymore. Even when I like one of the new movies or shows, they never have a moment or a scene or a line that sticks with me. They just lack that iconic quality of the movies that came before. They're missing the heart. I think the heart is something that we've taken for granted. And even when the new movies are pretty good, it feels like they're virtually impossible to rewatch. If you guys have ever tried to watch No Way Home on your own, on your TV, you'll realize that that movie is only meant to be watched in a packed theater. And that's nice when you're in a packed theater. When you're at home alone watching it, it feels really weird. There are these big pauses where you're supposed to get up and cheer and fucking scream. Now it just feels stunted and awkward. And this is a problem with a lot of these movies. Marvel wants to recapture moments like this. But this is a moment that was earned after years and years of buildup. You can't recapture that magic whenever you want. You have to earn it. And I'm hoping that with the poor reception of Ant-Man, they realize that they really need to get their shit together. Because eventually, those butts are not guaranteed to be in the seat anymore. And honestly, I don't really think superhero fatigue is kicking in. I think that's something people like to say, but I don't really believe it myself. I think you just have to have a bit more respect for the audience. People still love superheroes, but when the market is flooded with superhero content, people are going to be more selective of what they go to see in a theater. And honestly, I think Guardians 3 has a solid chance of being a good movie. James Gunn has not made a bad superhero movie yet, It'd be really weird if that one was the first one. If that movie's good, I think it will remind people what a legitimately good Marvel movie feels like. But if it sucks, I think that that's gonna kind of kill the MCU for a lot of people. And if the new Fantastic Four movie is bad, I will rip my own head off!